tell a story too.
Absolutely.
The tough part about this night for guys like Carl and me is that we know so many of Glen's songs. We could do a whole night of just that, you know. We used to kid Glen that he had so many hits that he could do a whole nother show with nothing but the B hits, you know. Just the second tier of stuff that, you know, like I Love My Truck and some of the songs that weren't the biggest hits that he had.
The original truck song, didn't he? Now he did the original truck song. Now we got to blame him for. Hey, God, Glen, that's the one mistake you made, son.
He was ahead of his time.
He's to blame.
And, you know, Carl, it's so cool to be here with Carl. We've done this before, not at this venue, but we've gotten together on a writer's night before and talked about Glen. I know how he feels a little bit because I just get flooded with emotion too, thinking about, you know, I was out in Phoenix, Arizona. The year was 1987, and I knew that Glen lived in Phoenix because there was a guitar repairman named Rich Beck, and Rich said, "Hey man, I'm working on Glen's guitar. You want me to stick one of your cassettes in it?" No, don't do that. I mean, even as much as I wanted to, you know, a song with, and you know what, Carl, your song was one of the ones that I used to do in the band I was in Scottsdale. Yeah, I loved this song. And so you know, we were an ambitious band, and we had a lot of local success. We actually just had a #1 record on KNIX, which is unheard of, still unheard of for a local band to ever score a #1 out there with that big station. And we won the Marlboro Country Showdown, and part of the prize was we were opening, they gave us a bunch of money and a bunch of stuff like that, and then we got to open a concert at the Coliseum for the Judds in Alabama and Merle Haggard. And unbeknownst to me, Glen was there. And he caught our set, and I was back in the dressing room while I think it was Haggard was on, and they said, or the Judds were on, and they said, "Glen Campbell's here and he wants to meet you." I was like, oh my God, you know. So he came in and complimented our band, and it was really nice, and then he's gone. You know, well, the very next night, Jack Nicklaus was into building golf courses back then, and they opened a new course in Carefree, Arizona, called Desert Mountain. And it's where they play the seniors event, The Tradition, if they still have that there. And who's at the table eating a steak with Jack Nicklaus but Glen Campbell? And you remember how Glen used to chew a steak, probably, right?
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And somebody said, "Go ask him if he wants to sing." So I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, Glen, you want to sing?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, you know all my songs, Rhinestone, Gentle, Phoenix, Galveston, Wichita." You know, I'm like, "Yeah, sure." You know, we didn't know any of them, but we weren't going to miss a chance. You know? So he got up and played, and we did about half hour together. He played my Stratocaster, and we did Rocky Top, some old Bob Wills. We had 2 fiddles in the band. We were really kind of a Western swing band in a lot of ways. And he vanished again. He left his blue guitar pick stuck in my strings. And I was like, son of a gun, you know, I'm never going to talk to this guy. Well, about 3 days later, the phone rings, and my ex-mother-in-law answers the phone and is about to hit the floor. I said, "What's wrong, Annie?" She goes, "It's Glen Campbell." And he goes, "Hey, Jeff, this is Glen Campbell." He said, "You're a hard guy to find." "Hi, it's Glen Campbell." He said, "I do not talk like that." And we played on the tape. He goes, "I guess I do." And he said, "You know," and Carl was the band leader before me. And Glen said, "You know, I laid my band off. I was turning 50, and all I wanted to do was play golf." And he said, "I'm about to pick in my britches." That's the way he would say it.
That's one of his things.
Yep. And he said, "You know, you guys are great, and you even know Rocky Top." Same song. He's still up the band that knows Rocky Top. He said, "Why don't we hook it up and well, let's ride the trail together." So I got 15 years next to Glen. And, oh man, yeah, I know. And I had some great big shoes to fill with Mr. Carl here, because the guy could sing high harmony to a dog whistle, and he could play guitar like anybody.
That's because of singing with Glen all the time.
That's right. And long story much shorter, thank you for listening though. I had the most incredible experience of my life, and I owe my career to Glen. I mean, because there's 2 things that have really helped in this town. One was being Glen's guitar player, and the other one was having a George Strait cut. And you know, I've met a lot of writers that said, "Man, I never got a George Strait cut, and that's why I came here." So we got everybody else. I don't know why you're whining, dude. But Glen was definitely a daily butt whooping on guitar. If you thought you had a lick together, he was just like, "Oh yeah." it was like, you know, Django Reinhardt was his guy, and he wanted to be Django Reinhardt on the guitar and Frank Sinatra in the voice. That's what I took away from it. And he wanted to cut songs that Jimmy Webb wrote.
And he could do it.
Yeah.